I'll never forget that evening, the clinking of glasses, the smell of roasted lamb, and the laughter that didn't include me. My own son's wedding reception, and I was told, "Dad, maybe you should sit at the back table. It's more comfortable there." At first, I thought I'd misheard. The back, I looked around. The front tables, the ones near the stage, near the lights, near the smiles, were filled with my son's in-laws, his wife's relatives, and her rich friends. I'd paid for half that hall, every chair, every light bulb in it. And yet my son's eyes avoided mine as he said, "It's just, her family wants the front view for photos. Her family. I had spent my life building everything from nothing, running a small workshop, sweating under the sun, missing dinners, all to make sure he never had to. And now, when I stood in that hall, I wasn't the proud father. I was a guest, an unwanted one. His mother, my late wife, would have been heartbroken if she'd seen it. She always said, 'Family is your true wealth, Arif.' But that night I realized sometimes family can be your debt instead." As the speeches began, no one mentioned me, not once. I stood there, smiling for the cameras, pretending it didn't hurt. But inside, something broke quietly, a thread that had held me to them for years. When dessert was served, my son's new father, in-law, gave a toast to the new beginning of our children. Everyone cheered. My son looked at me briefly, then turned away. That was the last time I ever stood quietly in a room full of people who had forgotten who built it. So I left, no drama, no tears, just walked out of the hall, and when they called later, asking where I'd gone, I told them calmly, "I'm sitting in the back just like you wanted, in my $2 million Rolls-Royce outside." The silence on the other end said it all. I wasn't born rich. My father was a school teacher, and we lived in a small 2-room house in Karachi. I learned early that if you wanted respect in this world, you had to earn it brick by brick, day by day. When I married Samina, my late wife, I had nothing but dreams and a second-hand bicycle. She was patient with me, even when we had to share tea in one chipped cup. She used to say, "Arif, money will come and go, but dignity once lost never returns." Over 35 years, I turned my small repair shop into a full-fledged construction business. I employed hundreds, built houses for others, and eventually built my own three-story home with marble floors, the kind I used to polish for other people. We had 2 children, Amir, our eldest son, and Ayesha, our daughter. Amir was clever, ambitious, always dreaming bigger than I did. Ayesha was softer, more like her mother, thoughtful, caring, always reminding us to pray before meals. When Samina passed away 5 years ago, something in me dimmed. Amir had already started taking over parts of the business, and I was proud. I thought, he's ready. I wanted to retire, to spend my remaining years quietly, maybe travel, maybe write the book I always talked about. But I didn't realize then giving control doesn't just test your trust. It tests their character. Amir began changing soon after he married Sarah, a bright, modern girl from a wealthy family. I liked her at first. She seemed polite, well-educated, but beneath that smile, there was calculation. I saw it in the way she talked about reputation and status more than family and kindness. Still, I ignored it. Love blinds parents just as much as it blinds children. When Amir and Sarah moved into the family home, Ayesha felt the shift too. Bai doesn't talk the same way anymore. She said once quietly, "Sarah decides everything now." I brushed it off, thinking it was just new marriage adjustments. But one evening, I overheard Sarah saying to Amir in the living room, "Your father's business could grow faster if he just steps back. People think it's old-fashioned. You can't expand with old ideas." That was the first time I felt the walls of my own home turn cold. A few months later, I called Amir to the office. It was time to discuss formal ownership transfers and his role in the company. I thought it was a proud moment, a father handing over his life's work to his son. He came late, sunglasses still on, phone in hand. "Dad, make it quick. I have a meeting with investors." He said, "Investors?" That word rolled off his tongue like a promise and a threat. I smiled and handed him the papers outlining profit sharing, my continued advisory role, and my intention to gift him 60% of the business. I thought he'd thank me. Instead, he frowned. "Only 60%. Dad, if I'm the one running everything now, shouldn't the business be under my full name?" I stared at him, not believing what I was hearing. "Amir, I built this company with your mother. It carries both our names. You'll inherit everything one day anyway. He laughed not kindly. Dad, times have changed. People don't respect old names. We need something modern. Sarah and I have plans, expansions, branding, maybe foreign investors. Your name. It's too local. Too local. That night, I went home and found Ayesha in the kitchen making tea. I sat quietly as she poured me a cup. He's changing, isn't he? She said softly. I nodded. He thinks my name is too small for his dreams. She smiled sadly. Then maybe God is showing you something before it's too late. The next morning, Amir brought Sarah to my office. She smiled that polite, tight smile again. Uncle sorry, Dad. She corrected herself. Amir and I think it's best if we modernize the company. We could make it a family group, call it the Rashid Holdings after him. My throat tightened. So my wife's name, my years of work all erased. Sarah leaned forward. It's not personal. It's just business. In those months, the only one who stayed close was my daughter Ayesha. She lived nearby with her husband, Imran, a kind man, a school teacher. They didn't have much, but they had peace. She'd visit every weekend, bringing biryani or home-made desserts. You don't eat well when you're stressed. She'd scold just like her mother used to. One evening, she found me sitting in the dark. Baba, why don't you just retire? Let them do what they want. I shook my head. It's not about control, Beta. It's about respect. You don't hand over your life's work to someone who treats it like a toy. She sighed, sitting beside me. Amir doesn't see it now, but he will. Maybe one day he'll understand what you did for him. Her words comforted me for a while, but the cracks were widening faster than she realized. Soon after, Amir stopped coming home for dinners. The office staff started referring to me as Sir Arif, a formality that felt like distance, and when Sarah hosted family gatherings, I was barely invited. It's just a young crowd, Dad, Amir said. Still, I told myself he's busy. He's building his life. That's what fathers want for their sons, right? Then one morning, my lawyer, old Mr. Habib, called me. Arif Bhai, I received a request from Amir's office. They're asking for copies of your property documents and business title deeds. I froze. For what purpose? He hesitated. They said, to simplify succession, but it's unusual to ask for originals. A chill ran down my spine. After that call from my lawyer, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying everything Amir had said to me in the past few weeks. The sudden talks about simplifying assets, restructuring ownership, making things official. It all sounded professional. Until I realized the target wasn't my company, it was me. 3 days later, Amir called. Dad, can you come to the office tomorrow? We just need you to sign a few things for the tax department. Routine stuff. Routine. That word has fooled more people than any lie I know. When I arrived, Sarah was already there, sitting confidently beside Amir, flipping through a leather folder. Her nails tapped against the table, as if keeping time with her thoughts. Dad, we've updated the company documents, Amir said, smiling too easily. The accountant said it's better if we transfer everything under one head to avoid double taxation. Just temporary my name for now. He slid a stack of papers toward me. I stared at the top page, transfer of ownership and full management rights. Temporary. I asked quietly. Sarah jumped in before Amir could speak. Oh, it's just wording, legal formality. You know how complicated government language can be. I leaned back, looking at my son. Amir, if I sign this, you become the full owner. Do you understand that? He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Dad, it's our company. You raised me to take charge. Why are you hesitating now? I looked at him, really looked, and saw not my boy, but a stranger wearing my son's face. I didn't sign that day. I told them I'd have my lawyer review it first. Sarah's smile faltered for the first time. That evening, Amir called angrily. You don't trust me, do you? I said softly, trust isn't about signing papers, Amir. It's about intentions. He hung up without replying. When I got home the next day, something felt off. The gate guardsmen I'd hired years ago avoided my eyes. The gardener stopped trimming the hedges when I walked by. Then inside, I saw Sarah's family sitting in the living room, laughing, eating snacks like they owned the place. Her mother looked at me with polite disinterest. Oh, Arif Sahib, you're home, she said, as if I were the visitor. Sarah came downstairs, her tone casual. Dad, we had some friends over. Hope that's okay. I tried to smile, of course. My house is always open. She corrected me gently, too gently. Our house, Dad. Ours now, remember. Something twisted in my chest. Excuse me. Amir came out of his office room, avoiding my gaze. Dad, I just moved the property papers under joint ownership. It's safer that way. You know, for the family. Joint ownership. My voice trembled slightly. You mean you registered the house under your name, too? Sarah crossed her arms. Don't be dramatic, Dad. You won't live forever. We're just thinking ahead. Thinking ahead. That's what every thief says when they start stealing from family. They call it planning. That night, I sat alone on the terrace, staring at the lights of the city. Each window in the distance looked like a story maybe of other fathers like me, who'd built everything for their children only to be pushed aside when the time came. Ayesha called. Baba, are you okay? You sound tired. I wanted to tell her everything, the papers, the disrespect, the feeling of being erased in my own home. But I didn't want to burden her. I'm fine, Beta. Just a little headache. She paused. Baba, don't lie to me. Something's wrong. I smiled sadly. Sometimes the people we raise forget who held their hand when they learned to walk. It was my lawyer, Mr. Habib, holding a sealed envelope. Arif Bhai, he said grimly, I need you to see this. Inside were documents showing multiple transfers, my business accounts, property deeds, even the family home, all pending approval. Amir's signature was there, and a forged one that looked dangerously close to mine. I felt my chest tighten. They forged my signature. Mr. Habib nodded. They're preparing to finalize it. If you hadn't delayed signing, everything would have been gone by now. For a moment, the room blurred. My own son, my own blood. Then anger took over, quiet, cold anger. Let them finish their game. I said slowly, but next time I'll be ready. That night I stayed awake, thinking of my late wife. I could almost hear her voice, don't fight for money, Arif. Fight for what's right. So I made a plan. I called my lawyer early the next morning. Habib Sahab, I want to update my will quietly, and I want a clause that ensures Amir and Sarah can't touch a single rupee without my consent. He hesitated. You're sure you want to take it that far? I looked out the window at the car parked below the Rolls-Royce I'd bought after my retirement. The one Amir once mocked me for calling a wasteful old man's toy. Yes, I said, if they want to see who I am without their respect, I'll show them. For the next few weeks, I acted as if nothing had changed. I greeted Amir every morning. I nodded politely to Sarah. I even attended a dinner they hosted, pretending not to notice how they whispered every time I entered the room. But behind the calm face, I was preparing. Mr. Habib and I met quietly every few days. I gave him access to all my hidden assets, land in Hyderabad, investment accounts, and the commercial building that Amir thought had been sold long ago. We created a new will. In it, I left the business and properties to Ayesha, under one condition, that she never tell anyone about it until my death, unless something forced her hand. I remember signing those papers with a steady hand. Not out of spite, but out of peace. I wasn't disinheriting Amir out of anger. I was protecting what I had built from his own greed. When I came home that evening, Sarah was on the phone. Yes, uncle, she said sweetly. Once the transfer is done, Amir will handle the next round of funding. When she saw me, she smiled fake as ever. Dad, you're home early. We were just talking to an investor from Dubai. I nodded, good, keep growing. You'll need all the money you can get soon. She laughed uncertainly. What does that mean? Nothing, I said, just thinking out loud. Dad, Amir said that morning we need to talk. Everyone will be here, even Ayesha. I didn't like the tone, but I agreed. Maybe I thought he's realized his mistake. When I arrived, the living room was already full. Sarah's parents were there, sitting like judges. Amir stood near the TV with a folder in hand. Ayesha sat quietly in the corner, uneasy. Dad, Amir began, you've done so much for us and we're grateful. But times are changing. The business needs restructuring. For legal reasons, the assets should be centralized. It'll protect us all. Sarah interrupted, and we think it's time for you to step down officially. Retire completely. Enjoy your peace. Her mother added, at your age, Arif Sahib, you should rest. Young people can handle things better now. I looked around. Every word was a dagger disguised as kindness. I turned to Amir. Is this your idea? He hesitated. It's what's best for everyone. Best for everyone, or best for you. Dad, please, don't make this emotional. I smiled faintly. Son, if emotions built this house, emotions can take it down too. He slid a paper across the table, full legal transfer of remaining assets. I didn't even glance at it. I just said no. Sarah frowned. Dad, don't be stubborn. We're not stealing from you. Then why are there forged signatures in the registrar's office under your name? The room went silent. Amir's face went pale. Ayesha's eyes widened. I know everything, I said calmly. The fake documents, the hidden transfers, the lies. Sarah's father stood up. That's a serious accusation. I looked him in the eye. It's not an accusation when you have proof. Then I turned to Amir. Do you remember when you were 10 years old and cried because you thought I'd sold your bicycle? I told you I'd never take away something that was yours, but you tried to take away everything that was mine. Amir's voice broke. Dad, I was just trying to what? I interrupted. Prove that you're better than me, or make me smaller so you could feel bigger. He stayed silent. Ayesha stood slowly, her voice trembling but firm. Enough, Bai. I can't stay quiet anymore. Sarah rolled her eyes. Oh, please, you're not even part of this business. Ayesha cut her off. Actually, I am. She pulled out an envelope, the one Mr. Habib had given her weeks ago. Baba told me to keep this safe in case something like this happened. Amir's eyes widened. What is that? She handed it to me. Your new will, Baba. Should I read it aloud? I nodded. Her voice was clear as she read. I, Arif Khan, hereby transfer ownership of all properties, accounts, and shares to my daughter, Ayesha Khan, effective immediately upon my passing. My son, Amir Khan, is entitled to one condition only. Should he demonstrate honesty and respect toward the family business, he may earn his share through merit, not inheritance. Sarah's face turned red. You can't do that. This isn't fair. I smiled sadly. Fair? Was it fair when you asked me to sign away my home? When you made me sit in the back at my own son's wedding? Amir looked like he'd been punched. You planned this all along. No, son. You did when you showed me who you really were. Sarah's father stood up angrily. You'll regret this, Arif Sahib. I looked at him calmly, maybe, but I'll regret it less than if I let greed eat my family alive. Sarah stormed out. Amir stood frozen, eyes wet, shame all over his face. Dad, I'm sorry. I nodded. Sorry doesn't erase signatures, Amir. It just teaches you how expensive they can be. After that meeting, the house felt like a storm had passed through, quiet but dangerous. Sarah refused to speak to me, slamming doors and muttering under her breath. Amir stopped coming to meals altogether. Ayesha, bless her, tried to keep peace, but some wounds don't heal with words. Within a week, the business world found out about the forged documents. Mr. Habib, ever efficient, had quietly filed a complaint not criminal yet, but enough to raise red flags. The investors pulled out, accounts froze, projects halted. Sarah's father called me one morning, furious. You've ruined my son-in-law's future. I replied, no, he ruined his own by forgetting his past. The following week, Amir came to see me. For the first time in months, he looked like the boy I used to know, eyes tired, voice quiet. Dad, he said, I lost the contract. The investors backed out. Sarah's father blames me. I didn't gloat, I just listened. He continued, I thought I was doing what was right for the company, for us, but I see now, I was doing it for my ego. I nodded. It's a heavy price to pay for pride. He looked down. Can I fix it? Some things, yes. I said softly, others you live with. He left without another word. I watched him walk out and I felt sadness, not anger. Because as much as he betrayed me, he was still my son. Amir and Sarah had separated temporarily. Rumors spread fast in our circles, and people began whispering. To save face, Sarah's family invited everyone, including me, to her younger sister's wedding. I wasn't planning to attend, but Ayesha insisted. Baba, go, walk in with your head high. You've done nothing wrong. So I went. When I entered the hall, everything looked familiar, grand lights, laughter, music. The same kind of wedding where, not long ago, I had been told to sit at the back. Sarah saw me first. She froze mid-conversation. Amir was standing near her, uncomfortable, embarrassed. Her mother came forward. Oh, Arif Sahib, you came. There's a seat at the back if you'd like. I smiled. No need. I'll sit outside. She blinked. Outside. I nodded politely and walked out before she could respond. Outside the banquet hall, my Rolls-Royce waited shining under the lights, polished like a mirror. My driver opened the door, and I sat inside, the cool leather against my back. The muffled sounds of the party echoed faintly from outside. I watched guests coming and going, their expensive suits and artificial smiles. I felt no envy, no anger, just peace. My phone rang. It was Ayesha. "Baba, everyone's looking for you. Are you inside?" "No, Beta," I said quietly. "They told me to sit in the back, so I'm sitting just in my own place." "In your Rolls-Royce," she laughed softly. "In my Rolls-Royce," I said with a smile, worth more than their respect ever was. As I was about to leave, Amir came running out. His face was flushed, eyes red. "Dad, please, wait." I rolled down the window. "Yes, Amir." He struggled for words. "I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me. I thought I could impress everyone by being someone I'm not. I forgot who taught me everything." He was shaking, truly remorseful now. I gestured for him to get in. He sat beside me quietly, staring at the dashboard. "You know," I said after a moment, "when I bought this car, you called it a waste, said I was showing off." He nodded shamefully. I continued, "But this car isn't about showing off. It's a reminder that respect and dignity come from what you build, not what you steal." Tears rolled down his cheeks. "I don't deserve forgiveness." I looked at him and sighed. "Maybe not yet, but at least you remembered how to say sorry." He nodded silently. We sat there for a long time, father and son, surrounded by the noise of celebration we no longer belonged to. Then, as we drove away, Amir whispered, "I want to start over, Dad, from zero." I smiled faintly. "Then start with something I taught you long ago, earn it." He nodded again, and for the first time in years, I saw humility in his eyes. When I dropped him home, he turned back and said, "Thank you for still calling me your son." I didn't reply. Some words are better left between hearts. Weeks turned into months. The noise around the scandal died down. Sarah's family stopped calling. Amir had moved into a smaller apartment after the business fallout. The world had moved on, but I hadn't, not completely. Some mornings I still sat in my study, running my fingers over old photographs, Samina's gentle smile. Amir holding his first trophy, Ayesha's school uniform. Memories that reminded me of when family meant love, not inheritance. Ayesha visited often. She brought her son with her, my grandson, little Hamza. That child had the same spark in his eyes that Amir once had. When he ran into my arms yelling "Dada," my heart melted. One day, Ayesha said quietly, "Baba, Amir's been working. He's started his own small firm repairing old houses like you used to." I raised an eyebrow. "Really?" She nodded. "He doesn't want your help. Says he wants to prove he can build something honest." That sentence, "build something honest," stayed with me. For years, I thought Amir had lost everything, including his soul. But maybe, sometimes, a fall is what teaches you how to stand straight again. Later that evening, as I looked at the sunset from my balcony, I realized something Samina had always told me was true. When you lose people to greed, you haven't lost family, you've just learned who your family really is. He looked different this time, humble, quiet, almost fragile. Gone was the confident businessman with shiny suits and arrogant eyes. This Amir wore simple clothes and carried an old briefcase. "Dad," he said softly, "can I come in?" I nodded and motioned him to sit. Ayesha brought tea and quietly slipped away, giving us space. He placed a file on the table. "These are my reports. I've restarted the old workshop. No investors, no loans, just hard work. I make enough to live decently. I thought you'd want to see." I opened the file, photos of small renovation projects, repair works, client letters thanking him for honest service. "You've done well," I said, a lump forming in my throat. He smiled weakly. "I learned from the best. I just forgot it for a while." We sat in silence. Then he said something that caught me off guard. "Dad, I'm not asking for the business back. I just want to earn your respect again. I want my son to grow up seeing his father the way I once saw mine." I didn't respond right away. The air between us was heavy with words left unsaid. Finally, I said, "Respect isn't given, Amir. It's remembered. You're earning it now one honest day at a time." His eyes glistened. "Thank you, Dad." Before leaving, he looked around the room at the old photos, at his mother's portrait. "You were right, you know. Money without respect feels like a curse." I smiled faintly, "And respect without money feels like peace." He laughed through his tears. "You always have the last word." It was a warm afternoon when I called Ayesha and Amir to the lawyer's office. They looked confused as we sat across from Mr. Habib. "Baba, what's going on?" Ayesha asked. I took a deep breath. "I've made some changes to my will again." Amir looked uneasy. "You don't have to, Dad." I raised my hand. "Let me finish, Mr." Habib read the new clause aloud. "In recognition of repentance, humility, and the rediscovery of respect, I hereby reinstate my son Amir Khan as a rightful partner in the family business, not by inheritance, but by trust. The final distribution of assets will remain balanced between both my children to ensure that love, not greed, defines their legacy." Ayesha smiled. Amir stared in disbelief, tears welling up. "Dad, after everything I did." I nodded. "Forgiveness doesn't erase the past, Amir. It just stops it from poisoning the future." He broke down, then really broke down, not out of guilt but gratitude. He held my hand and whispered, "I won't fail you again." And I believed him. That night, as I sat in the back of my Rolls-Royce again, watching the city lights flicker by, I finally felt peace, not because I had money, or victory, or revenge, but because I had regained something I thought was gone forever: my family's respect. I looked out the window and smiled. They told me to sit in the back. I whispered to myself, and I did, but this time it wasn't out of humiliation, it was out of wisdom. As the car drove on, I thought of Samina's words once more. Respect matters more than money, and now they know it too. In the end, wealth can buy comfort, but only respect can buy peace. Never trade your dignity for acceptance, because the ones who make you sit in the back today might end up standing to greet you tomorrow.